Wind is one of the biggest issues anglers have to deal with in the spring and early summer. We could create a pros and cons list for fishing in these conditions, but the fact of the matter is, when it's windy, our list of viable lures and presentations gets diminished. The other factor that we need to consider right now is that bass are starting to group up again, and at times into some really big groups. That's where a 1-2 punch of power and finesse is so effective. Search, find them, and then clean up with a subtle lure when they quit hitting the aggressive stuff. But like I said, our list of what to use takes a real hit when fishing wind-blown banks. Here's a perfect example. I set these conditions on my deep dive app for wind-blown areas. The lure examples are some good ones, but there are only 5 of them. Now look at what happens when I go back and select wind protected. All of a sudden there are 12 really good suggestions for lures. I love all of these, but there is one that I really like that can cross over to both sets of conditions with ease and be the mop-up lure for the 1-2 punch we were talking about. We're going to look underwater at this one here and a couple others, but first the Texas rigged stick bait. We'll watch it both weightless and with an 1/8 ounce nail weight in the center of it. I think you'll find the side-by-side footage interesting. All of a sudden, we have a finesse lure that checks a lot of boxes. Stick baits or Senkos have a nice weight to them right out of the bag, and its shape can cut through the wind when Texas rigged because that line is attached to one end of the lure instead of in the middle like with a wacky rig. It's of course much more weedless and snagless being a Texas rig as well, and adding that weight to the center still gives us that awesome sinking shimmy of a wacky rig. But let's look at it underwater. Here it is first weightless. As you can see, even with the hook off to one side, it still has that nice sink and shimmy we love with stick baits. And like I mentioned earlier, even completely weightless, this rig has enough heft to it, you can cast it just fine. Now let's take a look at the same rig, but the right side of your screen will have the stick bait with the 1/8 ounce nail weight inserted into the center of it. This is a big nail weight, and as you can see, the lure still shimmies like we want it to. Naturally, it does sink a little faster. Now, between the natural weight of the Senko and the added 1/8 ounce of the nail weight, you have a finesse setup that casts like a rocket. For me, it's a great subtle choice that can cross over into those tougher, windy conditions. Whenever we find a group of fish this time of year, a good fast-moving power presentation can 1, locate those bass, and 2, catch the aggressive ones very fast. But when that bite stops or slows down considerably, don't move on quite yet. Following up with a more subtle presentation can turn that bite back on in short order. A couple of other lures that also do well offering a more finesse option is the soft jerkbait and the creature bait. A soft jerkbait, like a Senko, is naturally a heavier lure. It too can cut through the wind. And using something like a belly-weighted hook or even inserting a nail into it allows us as anglers to cast it with ease, even in tough conditions. Just a couple of weeks ago, we went through 6 different rigging methods for a creature bait. Of course, the regular Texas rig works great when fishing in windy areas, but I do prefer to peg the worm weight with a bobber stop. I want that weight and lure to stay together to help me cast in the wind. And the other one I would pick from our previous video would be the shaky head rigging for the creature bait. I just love the way it keeps the lure in a more upright position, and it too casts really well. This is a 1/4 ounce jig head that you see here. Now, another huge benefit of fishing these windy areas is there's a really good chance you might have the entire spot to yourself. Thank you to the Deep Dive app for sponsoring this video. You can find out more information about them on the Google Play Store, the Apple Store, or follow the link down below. And hey, speaking of soft jerkbaits, if you'd like to watch a video where I test and compare 15 different ones where we can see how they act on the fall, a slow twitch, and a fast fleeing bait fish retrieve, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life forever. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.